Hey, what's going on out there? Justice7 here, back again from the OGC. Today we are breaking down my training around leads the way, all right? The goal of really building an audience and how we turn this pool into conversation and to increase effectiveness, okay? Effectiveness and efficiency within your sales process, all right? So dive into this one. This is a live we did right over my Facebook group called Original Chapters Marketing. So with that being said, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, and let's get rocking over here to the next video. Leads, how do we get them? Come on, that's really what we're talking about here. And I want to make sure that you guys actually now are thinking deep when it comes to where you're getting your leads from and how you're going about it, because otherwise when you were just I'm going to talk today even about the difference between getting people who are like true prospects and not messing around too much with people who are really just, like I said, time suckers and not wasting your time. I talk a lot about time management because a lot of us, when we're starting out, we're doing this on the side. Maybe we're not doing this full time. And so now you have to be that much more effective with your time and make sure you just know what your focus needs to be in order for you to be most successful. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead now and talk leads. Okay, let's jump right into it. So for leads, really our goal is an audience. All right, first and foremost, prior to leading up to the leads, our goal is an audience here, and really that audience is where our leads are going to come from, and what the majority of leads are going to consist of. They're going to be in our audience, and at the end of the day too, if we're talking Facebook organic here a lot of the times, and so today that's where the focus is going to be almost as always, because as you know, I believe that's the most lucrative way, especially today, to make a splash in the income and just to completely change your monthly income and be able to quit your full-time job as soon as possible. So leads through Facebook really is through building an audience and building an audience through a brand. And the brand is so key, but I talk about branding all the time, so you know how important that is. I just want to talk about the audience side. Like, let's assume that in order to have a strong audience, you need strong branding. Okay. And I don't mean you have to be, a superstar in order to have an audience. Because if that was the case, no one would be able to start. Everyone starts from somewhere. It's all about consistency through your branding. So really what you want to do is build an audience of buyers. That's the goal first and foremost. That's why I put here goal, because really when it comes to leads, you have to think of what's the goal to how we're going to even start getting those leads. And so really we want to do that by having an audience of buyers, and those buyers are going to be our leads, right? So once again, this is just not 100% of people that are in your audience are going to buy from you. But that's how we have to build up the percentage of our audience to be people who have actually raised their hand and said, hey, I can see myself buying something and I can see myself going forward in this industry. And that's really what we want to be. That's also why it's so important too. A question was brought up earlier in the group this week about promoting. They wanted to promote several different products across and then do several different niches, and maybe even within the several niches do several products. So really primarily we want to instead put our focus now on just actually one. I recommend, even like I wasn't even the only person who said this here, less is more. So we want to ideally focus on just one, and now it makes it that much easier for us to have stronger leads because the audience from which we're adding them to is from a more direct source, and it's going to be directly in line. When you're kind of all over the place, now you're promoting to too many different people, and it's getting to be too difficult to track who is it you're talking with, and now it makes it harder to even multiply the amount of qualified leads here. So the qualified leads are the people who are actually prospects who we can see potentially buying into our product, right? Prospects who actually are showing that they potentially have, let's just say, a budget to put in their business, right? Prospects who actually are maybe have a little bit of experience and realize that they need a course so they can start making progress. They need a coach. They need whatever your affiliate program offers. And now it's just all about seeing whether or not you have the best fit for them, right? So that's really the difference between qualified and non-qualified. So a lot of times, as an example for non-qualified, a lot of times people will they'll do a solo ad and then they'll run it to get leads for their email list. and then they think, okay, now I got this whole email list and now I'm just going to make a ton of money. Well, realistically, that email list that you're doing just to straight solo ads is probably a lot of non-qualified leads in there. So at the end of the day, doing this organically, it makes it a lot easier just to focus our time on the qualified leads now, instead of wasting our time so much on those non-qualified ones. And then on top of that, thereafter, we have to have awareness in handling those leads, right? So now that we have leads, we have an audience of buyers, right? And once again, as far as how to get an audience of buyers, you just have to go out there and find them. And at the end of the day, you want to look for people who have already paid for something, right? We're all very aware of Facebook groups. So at the very least, you can start there. And we're looking for groups where people have already paid to get into a group. It's a private group. It's not just something where anyone can jump into it. That's what we're looking for. So now, once again, now our audience has built more of that. It's making it more dialed in for ourselves. So that now when it comes to our awareness of handling these leads, it can be that much stronger and that much more direct and in line. That's what I said as well. We don't want to be all over the place, jumping onto multiple products, because that's going to really mess us up unless your products are actually congruent and it's just different price points. Maybe you have a high ticket, a mid ticket, and a low ticket. That's really the extent of what you want to do there when it comes to divvying up these leads, divvying up your products and going about it that way. So now the awareness of handling leads, really, that's where we want to keep in mind now. How are we actually conversing with our leads, right? And are we even conversing with our leads? We have to make sure that now that these people are in our audience, we have to speak to them, and obviously with a lot of times too, that's why even in the last one, you'll see where I talked about sales, there's cold and warm leads, right? There's cold and warm leads there. So for the colder leads, it may not be the first touch that you actually get them into your ecosystem there. So that's why the consistency is big there. And keep yourself accountable on doing the right tasks and actually following up, outreaching, keeping up with your content, so that now you are constantly speaking to your audience, who is, long story short, your leads. Okay, so that's why it starts. Our goal is to build an audience, because that audience is where our leads are going to live. And now we have to nurture that and make sure that we are being consistent and now reaching out, having conversations. And once again, just because it's a cold lead at the first bat doesn't mean that there's no hope for the future there. So that's why people don't get discouraged thinking that, off the bat, it didn't work out with the first lead. They may still be qualified. It just may not be the right time. And so that's also a big reason why your branding can help you. It's again, you hear me stress about branding because it's just that important, and the consistency of it. So now when you're building this goal of you're building this audience, you're actually having people who want to work with you, that you have that know, like, and trust built up. And so now when you actually go across and try to come connect with them through content, messenger, and other ways, it's going to be that much more streamlined, and they'll have a much better idea of what they need to, of who they're talking to, and how you can help them before. That's why I even talk about in the sales call, and not the sales call, in the sales training I did last week on pre-framing. We have to warm our audience up, warm our leads up before they're able to just go ahead and buy. At the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. It's all possible. You will find people who you can, it's just a lower percentage. You can make a sale on someone who's completely cold if you're able to win them over. You have great rapport with them, and it just all works out. But let's talk percentage here. I'd rather do what you can to warm them up, so before you get into a messenger conversation, before you get on the phone, it's making it that much easier for yourself to actually get them to close. So that's really a big piece there. It's like I said, consistency all around per usual. Like that, this thing doesn't happen with consistency and persistence. Also, that means consistency around building your audience. At the end of the day, Facebook, you can have 5,000 friends. We need to take advantage of every single one there and really use up that friends list. Take a look at how many friends are on your friends list and see how many you have right now. And at the end of the day, if it's a low number compared to the 5,000, if you're at 50% of that, 10% of that, you boost it, And then obviously you have to be careful with how we're doing this on Facebook, where you can't just add 1,000 people per day. But at the very least, make sure on a daily basis you're staying consistent and hold yourself accountable, so that now you can know that, once again, hey, if it takes you one quality lead, one qualified lead out of 10 to book a call, or one qualified lead out of 10 to do X, then that means you need to be getting 10 qualified leads as much as possible, because out of those 10 you're gonna get at least one person that's gonna get you one person closer to a sale. So once again, if it helps, take the numbers aspect, and that's gonna help a lot. So now also I want to paint this picture for you too. So really what we have here, our pool of people, right? Our pool of people, that's our audience. Those are the people who those are the buyers, right? The high ticket, the buyers, the potential buyers, the actual buyers. And now we want to turn this audience of buyers into high ticket sales. That's the pool that we're working with here. So we have to make sure if this pool isn't kept full, it's not going to work, right? Then we're not going to be able to have the necessary convos that we want to have leading up from the pool, right? And once again, even now you see there, I have the effectiveness, right? So now you have the pool of people, you have the conversations, but now how effective are you going to be within your conversation? And how effective are you going to be even speaking with this pool of buyers, right? Into actually turning them into high ticket sales. Now, what you need to keep in mind here, once again, branding. If your branding isn't strong, it's, now you're on the lower scale of effectiveness. That's just hurting you on how effective your conversation is, right? Your expertise. How is your actual conversation when you're speaking with these people? Once again, if you're just starting out here, it's going to be very difficult to win someone over, quote unquote, if you don't seem like you know what you're talking about, like you're an expert, like you're sharp as a tack, like you're a force to be reckoned with. If that's not the case, now it's just going to, once again, your effectiveness will be lower. So that's why in the beginning, stay consistent and hold yourself accountable with this, because now it's going to help you out that much more when you go ahead and get into these conversations with them. Because at the end of the day, we're doing this organically. You're not going to make sales without the latter. You may have a pool full of leads, but if you're not having conversations with enough of them, it's not going to work for you. So that's why we really need to just, once again, put the focus on, let's start with part one, leads. That's what we're talking about with the pool of people. We have to grow, as like I said, you have 5,000 friends on Facebook. We have to get this growing as fast as possible. If you want results, you have to get this going as fast as possible. And then from there, we need the conversations to happen. And then after the conversations, you can go back and watch the last sales training I did in the Facebook group last week. All about sales and all about how to actually be effective with this. So once again, the sales is going to help you out with the effectiveness now, that triangle there at the bottom. So keep all this in mind here when it comes to your leads. And this is going to help you out drastically, because once again, there's just unlimited amount of leads here in Facebook. It's all about adding the right ones. We want to add a pool of buyers. We don't want to just add randoms, and we don't want to add people from across all different niches, because now that gets too confusing, it gets too chaotic, too hectic, and the clarity dwindles quickly there. Okay, so that's why, once again, focus on that pool. That pool is going to be where our leads are. And now even more importantly than the leads, or maybe equally as important, is knowing how to actually converse with those leads and turn them into buyers. Okay, so that's why, once again, the key piece there is the effectiveness in it, the effectiveness in how that happens. All right, so keep that in mind there. I know this is going to be super helpful for you if you stay consistent with it. And once again, like anything, it's not rocket science, right? This isn't, look at how simple this diagram is. It's not rocket science. And once again, a lot of it is the little things. But now if you need help with the little things, once again, there's plenty of free trainings I've already done in this group alone. The one I did on sales is going to tell you exactly what you need to do in your conversations and leading up to those conversations, pre-framing, so that now you can be most effective in turning this group of buyers into high ticket sales. And maybe if you have a low ticket, into low ticket sales. We just want to make sure that our pool of people is dialed in to who we need and what we're looking for. Okay, so that being said, make sure you guys just stick with this here. Like I said, the consistency is going to pay off on so many different levels in order for us to be most effective in what we need to do. So I just want to leave you guys there. Like I said, if you're here watching this live, drop that hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, drop the hashtag replay. Smash that like button if you guys are getting value. Smash that love button if you really got value. I want to make sure that you guys are getting exactly what you need so you can take off in your business. So as per usual, thank you to those who contributed on the post this week. Keep an eye out, because once again, every time I want to know exactly what you guys are struggling with so I can get you as much clarity. Be specific. Let me know. So once again, I'm going to dive right in for you, and I got nothing to hide over here. So at the end of the day, thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you didn't get as much done during the week, put in some extra hours in the weekend. You know, I know that at the end of the day, we don't want this to feel like it's a job we're working 7 days a week, but I think it comes back to how bad do you want this. And I'm not saying that I believe that you should be working 7 days a week. At the end of the day, you need breaks. Like I said, it was my birthday this week, so I ended up, Wednesday, Thursday were slower days for me deliberately, because I wanted to make sure I was detaching a bit, celebrate the whatever successes and wins I've had, and now when I can come back, I can feel hungry. So sorry for the late notice on this week's live here. If you guys weren't able to catch it live like you usually can, but go strong. Like I said, leads, how to actually treat them, how to actually go about them, how to get them. Let's execute and do what we can. So hey, like I said, this is Justice here. Enjoy the rest of your week, and a week's almost over, so enjoy the weekend coming up, and we will talk soon. Hey, thanks for watching this video all the way through. Make sure you go ahead and like this if you got a ton of value from, which I hope you did. Subscribe to the channel, and absolutely go ahead and join us in our original chapters community. Links right down there in the description. And as always, you are designed to become who you choose to be. I'll see you later.